Dear ladies and gentlemen, there is a looming titanic battle between Raila Amolo Odinga and William Samoei Ruto over IEBC chairman selection, over selection of IEBC commissioners. Now KIMANI IChungwa, being the majority leader of the National Assembly, is sponsoring a bill that will change the selection panel's formation. The current formation gives the Parliamentary Service Commission to nominate 4 commissioners, and then it gives LSK to nominate 1 and the religious faction to nominate 2, making the number 7. But KIMANI IChungwa is seeking to alter that formation and rope in a different formation that will give advantage to the executive. And the current bill that KIMANI IChungwa is threatening or planning to front gives privilege to 1, the Parliamentary Service Commission to nominate only 2 instead of 4. Then the rest of the 2 other slots have been distributed to the Public Service Commission and the Parties Liaison Committee, each to nominate 1. Then LSK to retain 1 and religious faction to retain the 2. And still that will make the number 7. But the argument of Azimio One Kenya Alliance, or the argument of Raila Amolo Odinga through the Azimio One Kenya Alliance leaders, is that the Public Service Commission is controlled by the executive, and political parties liaison is overseen by the registrar of political parties, a body that is inclined to the government. So what that means is that if Public Service Commission is given a slot and the Parties Liaison Committee is also given a slot, that is like giving William Samoei Ruto 2 slots to nominate. And that is what the Azimio One Kenya Alliance is complaining about, that should that bill be fronted in the parliament, and should that bill be tabled and successfully voted on, then that means the president will have powers to nominate 2 commissioners of the IEBC, and that will give William Samoei Ruto an upper hand in the 2027 general elections. So that's why Raila Amolo Odinga is coming out guns blazing and saying that this cannot be allowed. What KIMANI IChungwa is trying to bring on board cannot and should not be allowed. That is what the Azimio One Kenya Alliance leaders are communicating to the people. If I remember the verdict that Martha Koome delivered, I remember her calling literally all those points hot hair and wild goose chase. That means Martha Koome was technically dismissing everything that Azimio One Kenya Alliance presented. That's why she had to say, is on the hot hair, is on a wild goose chase. But something has been happening behind the scene. I think one of the things that the court through Koome could be doing is advising, Kenya Kwanza leaders on what laws to enact in a move to prepare themselves for 2027 court battle. Because, mind you, if the Public Service Commission is given a chance to nominate one commission of IEBC, and you know that Public Service Commission is controlled by the executive, and political parties liaison is given 1 slot, and you know very well that political parties liaison is overseen by the registrars of political parties, which is again inclined to the government. That is like giving William Samoei Ruto an upper hand in the next election contest. 2 commissioners already in his basket. And then it's like telling the president, the incumbent, that go out there and look for only 2. Because the Parliamentary Service Commission will nominate 2. Strive to get 1. Then William Samoei Ruto will be having 3. And then go to the religious. Because, you know, William Samoei Ruto has positioned himself, has positioned the Kenya Kwanza government as to having been a part of the church. So that means, technically, William Samoei Ruto has 4 commissioners on his side, should this bill sail through. The 2 from the Public Service Commission, political parties liaison, you know, committee, 2. And then the 2 from the religious faction. That makes it 4. Even if William Samoei Ruto does not secure the 2 from the Parliamentary Service Commission and the LSK, but in his side he already has 4. He might decide to take 1 from the Parliamentary Service Commission to make the number 5. So to be 5 against 2. So Azimio One Kenya Alliance will not have a chance there. Because I think one of the things that the courts could have found that made sense, but they just decided to turn a blind eye on, is the fact that 4 commissioners stood on one side against 3 commissioners. If quorum was to be looked at, then that would mean the results would have been denounced by the courts. But the courts just decided to uphold the results. I think that most people still do not understand how it happened, but it did happen. So, William Samoei Ruto is preparing himself for the 2027 by fronting this bill through Kimani Ichungwa. So Kimani Ichungwa is being used to front the bill, bring the bill through the back door, so that they can discuss the bill. So the 2/3 majority does not happen. Then should that not happen, or maybe should it happen? But it can happen, because you've seen lately some of these Azimio MPs threatened to come to the Kenya Kwanza. Most of them are threatening to do that. That means ODM might be left on one side against Kenya Kwanza Jubilee on one side. So that means, should that happen, then I think the bill will sail through. I mean, that's what I'm foreseeing. But should Azimio One Kenya Alliance stick and stay true to the course, then it's obvious that that bill will not sail through in round 1 of voting. But maybe some subsequent voting, whereby now majority is being given priority to, might see the bill sail through. The president will definitely assent to it, because it is going to protect his 2027 ambitions, the ambition of re-election. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to wind up there, but please feel free to communicate to me through the comment section. Tell me what you think about this bill that Kimani Ichungwa is planning to bring to the parliament. Do you think the bill is good for the country right now? Because that is just setting the country in another campaign mood. Ikiwa huja subscribe, please take a moment and subscribe. Please stay safe, stay blessed until you meet again for another analysis.